Hey guys, in today's video, I want to talk about my experience with Clawdbot, Moltbot, OpenClaw, whatever you want to call it, and if it's actually worth installing onto your machine and utilizing for your business or just for your task every day on your computer. It is very interesting, and the last 2 weeks have been absolutely insane with just the internet and Twitter and the AI community and all of the things that you can do with it. Now, I've avoided making this video because number one, I've just been playing with it and trying to get it to work for my use cases. And I wanted to kind of have an extended experience before I actually made a video. Nothing against anybody who made videos like right out the gate. There was definitely a moment where you could have grown your channel a pretty good bit, I think, and got a lot of views on videos, just getting them out, 24 hours to 48 hours or 72 hours after this all took place. But I just wanted to install it and see if it actually worked for me. And also I wanted to see if anybody else was going to just like destroy their machine before I put it on my computer. But with all that being said, I'm going to walk you through sort of my experience and how OpenClaw or Clawdbot or Moltbot or whatever you want to call it has been working for me and if it's worth installing onto one of your machines. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is I didn't actually put this on my local MacBook. I actually use a MacBook here with a monitor in the center, and I have a 2019 iMac to my left that really doesn't get used for a lot. And I thought, okay, this is a perfect computer. I don't really use it, and if the operating system will work with it, then that would be a good machine to do. And then I don't have to run out and buy a Mac Mini, and I don't have to use like AWS to have like a private digital server or whatever. So I decided to put it on the 2019 iMac. Now, the challenge with that was when I first tried to run it and install it, it was not installing because the operating system was out of date. And I think the operating system I have on there just barely makes the cut for some of this stuff. So anyway, got that up and running. Forgot my password for the iMac, so I had to call my IT buddy who helped me repair this computer a long time ago. It's a 2019 iMac, and I forget the operating system, but I got more info. It's Mac OS Ventura 13.7.8. And I'm actually remoting into my computer using Real VNC just because my MacBook will not talk to that computer for some reason, and I've tried all kind of things to make it do that. So I actually have to remote in to view it or use the mouse and keyboard over there. But anyways, that took about 3 to 4 hours just to get that computer ready to go. But I do think that was worth it, that side of it, because if you have a computer laying around that you haven't used in a while, or like you've upgraded and you have an older computer, you might be able to do this on that computer, and that would save you from having to purchase a Mac Mini or Raspberry Pi or whatever. And you don't have to pay a fee to host it, virtually on a virtual server or whatever. So got that up and running. Ended up having to get my IT buddy, Dakota. Thanks, Dakota. Shout out to Dakota to help me do some of the install because full transparency, I'm not a coder. I am a filmmaker, videographer, photographer. I definitely dabble in building websites. I dabble in everything that I need to do with a computer because of like the nature of editing and things like that. So Dakota actually helped me install it because I really couldn't figure out. I've never really used Terminal for anything. I mean, I knew what it was. I knew you could do like advanced coding in there to alter your machine and whatnot, but really this was pretty daunting for me. Being a guy who just uses software, doesn't build software or install software. Like when my idea of installing a software is going to the, App Store or downloading a DMG file from the internet and then installing it that way. But we did get it up and then we did get it installed. So the installation process was a little strange because I installed it right in that window where Clawdbot was changing its name to Moltbot. And that brings me to talking about some of the challenges that I've been having with it because initially it worked really good and I have it connected to Telegram, as you can see, and mine's name is Hector. So Hector was working good. He's connected to Telegram. I was chatting back and forth with him. I have him tied into my OpenAI key, which I know is not like the best, but that's the one I pay for. So I just decided to roll with that. I had the web search code installed, I guess. It was working pretty good, but after a few hours, he just totally went down. Like I couldn't talk to him. I wasn't here at the office, so I couldn't I couldn't like see what was going on, which is why I actually ended up installing Real VNC so I can always remote into all these computers when I'm away and, see what's going on. But he would crash, like maybe he would work for 6 hours, then crash. And I'm going to just refer to him as he because it just makes it more interesting for me to like pretend as I have a personal assistant than, an AI monster living on this computer over here. But he would go for a whole day sometimes and then crash. And then he would crash some days when I was here every hour or every 2 hours. He's just going down. And it actually crashed. And the challenging thing with that is like overnight. If I wanted a report or something, or I wanted something delivered to me in the morning times, which is like a pretty handy thing that I want to use, he might crash in the middle of the night. And then when I wake up, I'd say, hey, Hector, you awake? And nothing. So I'm going to show you guys real quick sort of a workaround for that for me. And I really need to get this thing working for real because I don't want to do this workaround a lot. And my IT friend seems to think that we might have installed this right there in that transition from Clawdbot to Moltbot, and maybe the code was changing. I mean, when I tell you that's when I did this installation was right there in that window. I remember getting everything installed, refreshing the page or the website here, and it said Moltbot. And I went, the crap is this? And then, videos started coming out about how they had to change their name or they decided to change their name. So I don't know if that had something to do with it, but for now, this is my workaround. I actually remote into my computer, which I can do from, virtually anywhere. And I actually did it in Costco the other day. And then I have to reboot it. I haven't figured out the line of code yet to just get it going again, because if I do Clawdbot gateway, for some reason, it thinks that like I need to start a new gateway. I can't remember what it told me. Remember, guys, I'm not a coder. So what I have to do is Clawdbot gateway, and I've already restarted the computer this morning. And sometimes the first time I do this, it doesn't work still. It looks like it's going to work, the Clawdbot, logo or crab or whatever that is, lobster. And once I see all this blue text and hooks and Telegram is being set up, everything, that's kind of an indication for me that it's going to work. But we'll go back here and we'll look at where's my Telegram? There's my Telegram. And I literally just got a notification on my watch that, hey, you back at it? Like, he's back, okay? So he's asking me tasks like that I was doing yesterday and he crashed. So forget all past task. Let's start fresh. Now, this will bring me into some of the use cases, what I've actually used Clawdbot for. And guys, this is going to be so elementary. Like, people are doing way advanced stuff, but I haven't been able to get to that point because of these terminal errors and these terminal crashes. And it could crash during this video, in which case I'll be able to show you what it's actually saying and doing. Let's see. Watchdog detected. It does this. If anybody in the comments knows what this is, where's terminal? Go back to terminal. This message will start popping up a lot right before it's going to crash. Watchdog detected, non-announced service, attempting advertise gateway. No idea, guys. Literally no idea. I want to have an idea, and I'm learning, but I have no idea what that means. But for now, he seems to be working. But some of the use cases I've used it for is I connect it to my Google Calendar. And that way because I have to put in a lot of dates into my calendar. Like, I have a full calendar pretty much all the time, year round. And yes, I can go easily add that. But if, say, I'm like coaching my kid's soccer team or I am driving, I can just text Hector at a red light and say, hey, second Saturday is going to be March 14th. Will you please add that to my Google Calendar? And he does it. And I can even give him parameters like, it's this time. Please make it a red or green label, because red's kind of like video shoots. Green is like recreational, so it's not necessarily like work related. So he does that really well. He does really good research for me when it comes to prospects. And most recently, I've been just exploring the idea of having sponsors for this channel. And we have had a few paid and just sponsors, like software sponsorships for the channel. And those usually come to me instead of me going to them. So I was interested in like, hey, maybe I should reach out to some of these companies, software companies, AI tool companies, and see if they would like me to make videos and if there's some compensation that could be had. And so anyways, I have Hector at night, or I did, I have him basically do the research for me, find the best contact for those companies, whether it be LinkedIn, email, or what have you, draft separate emails for each, and then put it into a Notion board. So that's really handy. I really like that. The problem for me right now is when it works, it works. When it doesn't, it's just like a bust, and it really messes up the workflow. My friend Dakota, who's the IT guy, he seems to think that we installed it during a time when the code might be changing, and it's just there's some little switch in there that is broke and keeps throwing it off. The other thing I'll say is, I've seen people show how it can fix itself, and I've done that. We'll do it right now. So look into your logs and into terminal to see why you have been crashing out lately. And it says typing in Telegram. When I see that it's typing, I know it's connected. A lot of times, when I type something and send it to him, it'll just say bot, like it won't say typing. And that's why I'm like, okay, it's crashed. Let me remote in and start over. But he's going to think about that for a second. So I can do that. The last time I tried everything, terminal command got auto denied with approval timeout. Okay, so he's basically saying that like he cannot look at that, and I need to copy this code over. So I will try that. So we're copying that code. That's the other thing is like he'll give you code to put in, and I will say 60% of the time the code doesn't work. Now, that just might be me being a person who doesn't know about this kind of stuff, and it's like I'm just copying the code he gives and then hoping it works. So we'll see. I'm going to get my IT friend to actually come over, and he suggested maybe we just wipe it and start over now that it's, open claw, and maybe that will help it. But yeah, getting reports for sponsors, getting reports for different clients I want to go after, that is really handy and works well when it's working. Let's quickly talk about privacy concerns. Because this thing is so brand new, I've really avoided giving it information to something like my email, credit cards, debit cards, and mostly I've just been giving it access to stuff that doesn't involve other people. I know the calendar might be a little risky, but I just felt like that was an okay thing to give it. I made it its own Notion board. I also really like to use Milanote a lot as a filmmaker. There's a lot of videographers and filmmakers that use Milanote. The issue I had with that is it's a drag and drop system, and I don't know if I need an extra skill or something installed into Hector, but he said that he wasn't able to drag and drop. Now in Notion, where it's like mostly type-based, he can do pretty much everything in Notion. So I just made his own Notion board or folder or whatever they call it in Notion, and he's able to do reporting and things like that inside of there. We are doing something interesting on our podcast next Tuesday where we are going to test all these king cakes from the Gulf Coast where we live, and Hector was actually able to go through and find me like the top 10 king cakes from Mobile, Alabama to New Orleans, Louisiana, which is basically where we live. We live along that coast, and get me the contact information for all of them, compose an email that I could send, and we pretty much already got all of our sponsors for that video, which is basically just them sending us a king cake. So little trivial things like that. Hector has done an amazing job, and it's a little different from ChatGPT because of the memory aspect, and like I can tell him, hey, remind me at 9:00 that I have a call with Richard at 10, and he'll do it when he's working. That's the caveat. Like, I've got to get this thing working. If you guys have any suggestions out there, please put them in the comments. I know I sound like an idiot when it comes to this stuff because I just don't do this stuff. The coding side of it. I'm like a creative person, so my thing was I just want to use this to be more creative and to complete like tasks in my business. So if I can get it up and running, I will be super, super happy. But the Milanote experience was no good. Maybe I need to download a skill. let's talk about Moltbook for just a second, because that has been the rage. Basically, Moltbook is like, is a play on words like Facebook, but Moltbook. And it is we can actually pull it up, but it is a social media platform for these AI agents. I'm a human. And basically, it's kind of like Reddit, I think, where there's different boards or different communities and different topics, and they all get in there and chat. I have actually not gone through here and clicked around and read stuff. I've mostly watched all of you guys' videos on what's going on in here, and it is truly mind-boggling. The funny thing about Clawdbot, OpenClaw, Moltbot, whatever you want to call it, is it's pretty polarizing, and that's something that is really interesting to me, because for the most part, like, the AI community is pretty they're pretty united on most things. If you don't like AI, you're just not in the community, I've noticed. But like, this is the most polarizing topic that I've seen in the AI community. There are people out there who are just like trashing this thing. It doesn't work. It's a scam. It's absolutely terrible. There's nothing you can really do with it. And then there's other people that are like swearing by this thing up and down. And what I really think it is it's how you use it and if you can get it to actually work. For me, I'm not writing it off yet because I have seen the potential of it. I've actually benefited from it. The problem for me is, like, sometimes I'll message mine and he's just dead. So if I can get mine to stay alive, that's my thing. It's like I get a little lobster and he dies and I have to go to the store and buy another one. If I can get my lobster to stay alive, my little Hector here, then, and I'm going to try to work on it a little bit today. The other thing is too, is I have a business. So I spent 3 days getting this thing up and running, and then it does all this stuff. And it's like, I had to give up on it for a little bit. I'd be like, okay, I got to go do some actual work. I will come back to you. But I'm going to try over the weekend or this week to actually get him up and running really good. So that being said, my final thoughts are I'm not giving up on Clawdbot. I think that there is a huge use case for him. I mean, the fact that we're only 2 weeks into the existence of this thing is a really good sign, because people are doing really good things with it, and it's only going to get better. And I'm really, really excited for it. I think the future is bright with something like this. I think the future could also be dark with something like this. So a lot of people are talking about that. But I'm going to make more videos as I go along. So if you're interested in that, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. And hopefully I can bring you guys a video where it's working and it's doing like 10 tasks for me. But for now, I do like having Hector. I like having it on Telegram where it's in my pocket. The other day I was at Costco and I had it do something while I was shopping with my wife. When I got back to the computer, it was done. So there's definitely a use case for it. I'm not giving up on it, and there will be more content on this AI agent in the future. So like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.